And no mention that this just happened in August.
And then he's also saying that there are no reforms. Well, in 2007 and 2008, Democrats working with Republicans worked on workers' comp reform and created Senate Bill 1, which allowed for discounts back to companies on medical cost containment savings. Mm-hmm. And what Senate Bill 1 did was it set up a medical cost fee schedule, if you will, for the cost of medical. That savings came about because companies that incurred losses in 2007 but hadn't paid them out yet, and they were on the fee schedule, they realized the savings. So the legislature said 23% should go back to businesses based on that cost savings. And so the DCRB then filed suit against the Delaware Insurance Department, and that was one of the first things that Commissioner Stewart had to handle upon coming in office in January of 2009. And as she said earlier, she won that suit against the DCRB, and the Chancery Court required that a reduction in 2008 of 6% for small businesses, small employers on workers' comp rates, a reduction in 2009 of 6%, a reduction in 2010 of 6%, and a reduction in 2011 of 5%. Now, if you go out to Karen Stewart's opponent's website, you will see that he is stating that he wants to give those Chancery Court reductions. He says, I want to give the money back to the insurance companies. Well, come on, folks. I think that's enough when you walk in the voting booth, when you have somebody standing up and fighting for consumers and challenging the DCRB on this rate filing. It should be enough when somebody says, I want to give the money back to the insurance companies. It sounds like something out of the playbook of Mitt Romney. You blame all the Democrats, and then you give the money back to the corporations. It's just absurd. And that alone should be enough to support Karen Weldin Stewart. But let me go back to the underlying reason we're really going in to examine these records. There's called a second injury fund. A second injury fund in workers' comp is where an injured worker is with one insurance company, and then they have an injury, and that injury is being paid by insurance company A. They then, the next year, are with insurance company B. Well, that's called subrogation. Insurance company B goes back to insurance company A.
How's that happen? Because somebody changes jobs or something?
Change jobs, or the employer changes the insurance company that they're with.
I'm with you.
So one company B subrogates against company A to recoup that money. We want to see if that is accurately reflected in the data that the insurance companies are supplying to the DCRB, because that would decrease rates rather than raise rates. And we're also looking at reserves. Some companies reserve, say, $100,000 for a claim that they feel will last 3 years. Then they end up paying $50,000 on a claim, and that means that they over-reserved, charged a higher rate, and it's unfair. So the commissioner is looking at this filing with 2 independent actuaries, an outside attorney, as well as financial analysts within the department, to make sure, and she will make sure, that this filing is not excessive, inadequate, or unfairly discriminatory upon the businesses and the people of this state. I can assure you that. I've been working with her for the past 4 years. She's strong on consumer protection. She puts teams together. Immediately, when we got the results back from our actuaries, we began reaching out to the Secretary of Labor, small businesses, labor and union leaders, non-union leaders, in meetings with them, met with the governor's health care advisory panel members, data collection committee members, and we're working to a resolution. But her opponent continues to blame Democrats. If you go out on his website, he's blaming Democrats for everything.
And saying it here verbally when he comes on these live shows here with Charlie Copeland and some of the other Republicans.
It's obvious that he's not a bridge builder. And the late President John F. Kennedy once said, let us not seek the Republican answer. Let us not seek the Democratic answer. Let us seek the right answer. And let us not blame the past, but let us accept our own responsibilities for the future. And that's exactly where Commissioner Stewart is. There's no blame game. We need to build bridges. We need to bring all the stakeholders to the table in January. And that includes all the cost drivers in the workers' comp system, including hospital costs, prescription drugs, litigation, frivolent lawsuits, fraud in the system. All these things need to be put so that the stakeholders can look at all the cost drivers of workers' comp and come and repackage a workers' comp reform based on Senate Bill 1.
Karen, let's go back to some of the things. You have been active in helping to create legislation, to work and support legislation that was beneficial to the consumers of the state of Delaware. Why don't you tell us about some of that?
Well, one of the things we've done, we have a consumer service unit, and actually our office is the largest consumer service agency in the state. And for those of you who have called our office about your insurance company not paying you what your claim is worth, not responding to you, not paying you, and you call my office, we have improved so many things in our office for you and we track everything. So we recovered in the first 3 years $6 million, and that $6 million went to you. It didn't go to me, it didn't go to the state, it went to you, it went into your wallets. So that's something I'm really proud of, the statistics on that. And also, last year, beginning of 2011, I was finally given the authority to approve and disapprove health insurance rates. Before that, health insurance companies could just raise their rates. We had no control over that. When we got the approval in 2010 from the legislature, which went into effect the beginning of 2011, we were only the 25th state that was given that authority.
Wow.
So because we have started to do that, and we have it on our website because I've been bringing transparency into the department. I believe in transparency. You can see what health insurance companies are asking for and what we're approving. And last year I saved Delawareans $1.1 million. So this is going in the right direction. Also, the Center of Medicaid and Medicare Services for the United States has sent my department a letter last year praising us on the format we use for rate requests and rate filings. Not every state got that. And I do look over every rate, even a little tiny 0%, because there might be something in that rate. So my team goes through it, and I do say team, as Jean says, we do everything by team, because it's good for another set of eyes to know what we're doing. So my team meets with me. We try to meet weekly, my property casualty people and my life and health people, and we go over all the rates. And we, even though my outside actuarial firm that I use normally, remember I did 2 on workers' comp, I only do 1 normally, come back and say what's filed is justified. Oftentimes I'll look at it and think to myself, I think it's a little too high. So I call the company up. I realize I don't have a leg to stand on here because it is justified. I will get them to lower it, and that you can also see on our website. And our auto insurance and our homeowners insurance is going on our website also.
So sometimes it comes down to if the justification is there still, but hey, guys, work with me here a little bit, and you get some things done.
Yes,
very good. And that's the experience of having been in the office and everything else.
Because there is a little wiggle room. Your actuaries come back and say it's either substantiated or reasonable. And then the commissioner does dig deeper and contacts the company on some outliers that may be out there to even lower the rate a little further. But let me also say this, that Commissioner Stewart is the first insurance commissioner, and I would know this because I've been there 28 years, giving my age away, but first insurance commissioner to hold public information sessions on double-digit rate increases. She also
the first to do that.
The first to do that. And I should also mention, because I didn't mention this when we were talking about workers' compensation rates, that she is holding 3 public information sessions on this workers' compensation rate request, which will inform the public of the entire process. The Delaware Compensation and Rating Bureau will be there, along with our two independent actuarial firms. The first one's being held in the city, Carvel City office building down on French Street in Wilmington on Wednesday the 24th, and that's from 6 to 8 p.m. in the auditorium. And then we are holding two more public information sessions in Kent County at the Delaware Insurance Department office at 841 Silver Lake Boulevard in Dover, Delaware, and that's from 4 to 6. And then the next public session for workers' comp is at the Cheer Center in Georgetown from 7 to 9, also on the 30th.
Fantastic.
So that'll get a lot of information.
If I'm clear, help my viewers. I want to make sure they're understanding what you're saying. These rate increases come up each year. This came up in August of this year that your opponent's talking about. I know 2-3 years and all that. This just came up. Okay. There's a timetable in place and things that are already happening to try to really be on top of it, and your office is on top of that. You solicited outside expertise to make sure you're dotting them I's and crossing them T's as you're looking on, and these are the professionals that come in to deal with these things. Then on top of that, Gene, you're saying there are 3 scheduled community meetings, if you will. Kind of help us with that again, and that's already in place to, again, keeping it all in place from August to where we are. This August, when it first came, help us with that again. I want my viewers to understand this.
That's correct, Herman. I mean, knowledge is power. And so we want to have public information sessions so that the public can come, listen to the entire process from the Delaware Compensation Rating Bureau, from our actuaries, from the Delaware Insurance Department itself, on how this all occurs, the entire process from start to end, and then also allow public comment at those public sessions. Now keep in mind, if the public or businesses want to make comment for the hearing that we schedule for this rate request, they should follow the steps on our website, which is written comments submitted to Rhonda West of the Delaware Insurance Department. All that information and direction is on the website, or they can show up at the hearing and give oral comments. Now the hearing is scheduled right now for November 20th, but as I said, we're still looking at data, and if we don't have these reports back, there's a possibility that could be extended. But right now, that's
things
where
are
we
in place and those dates are set. Help us to understand, Karen or Gene, you mentioned on Friday, Cameron, we talked about the money by way of fines and fining the insurance companies and things that you were doing, or some way you were generating revenue that went into the general fund. How's that happen?
Yes, the insurance department, actually of all the states, the District of Columbia and the 5 territories, we charge insurance companies premium tax on the premium they write in the state. And Delaware receives $106 million a year, which is put into the general fund. It doesn't stop, not a cent of it stops in the insurance department. We collect it, we do our audits, it goes right into the general fund to help provide services for everyone that lives in the state of Delaware. We are the only state in Delaware that have a carve-out. We're part of the money. In the first 3 years I was in office, it was $100 million is earmarked for volunteer fire and volunteer ambulance services. And that actually has kept our property taxes down over the years. That started in 1972. We're the only state that has that. So when you look at other states, they're paying a fortune for these services, and our firemen, our volunteer firemen, and our ambulance services are always highly recognized because they're able to get equipment and go about their business because they do get this extra funding, which really does help them to do their work. And I think it's very deserving that they receive this fund. Also, fines. I levied the highest fines against insurance companies since I've been in office.
Say that again, speak up. Say that again.
Fines.
I want to hear this now.
Some of the largest fines ever issued against insurance companies have happened during my first 3 years in office. I don't have the numbers for this year yet, so that's why I can only give you the first 3 years. So I levied fines somewhere around $3.3 million.
All right.
Now that does go to the state of Delaware. That goes into the general fund. So Now, how does the insurance department function on our budgets? Well, that's just it. I'm the first commissioner during my entire tenure. It actually started with Matt Den, I believe it was last year, but my entire tenure, I have not received one dime from the state. I have to raise my own money. Delaware is now, when I came in, we were the 17th largest state in the country, which meant the companies I regulate to make sure that they're solvent, that my department regulates, wrote $7 billion nationwide. Now, they're not located in Delaware. They may not even write in Delaware, but they write around the country. Now, since I become commissioner, we're now, with new companies coming into Delaware and with some mergers and acquisitions, we're now the 10th largest in the country, and we now oversee $47 billion in written premium nationwide. And the assets my department has to oversee is around $479 billion. That's $479 billion.
Wow.
That's a lot of money. And some of the countries, some of the companies don't even write in the United States. So some of these companies only write overseas. So it's quite global. The department has become very global. And with the Dodd-Frank Act being passed in Congress, we have to form partnerships with our fellow regulators around the globe and hold what we call supervisory colleges. So I serve on Berkshire Hathaway, a Fortune 500 company. I'm on their supervisory college. I'm on Swiss Re. I'm on Zurich's. I'm on Munich's. I'm on Munich Re. Score Re, the third largest insurance company in the globe. I mean, we are the front line. Delaware is the largest. So we have more foreign business.
Herman, if I could just add to that Karen's leadership is very important as well in the Delaware Insurance Department. We have a very dedicated staff, a very competent and qualified staff, from consumer services to financial examiners to market conduct examiners to fraud investigators. And it's all based on Karen's leadership and her mantra that the day they walk into the department, each and every day, the motto is the consumer comes first. And that's a credit to Karen's leadership.